Hello and welcome to the Cloud Room podcast post-match reaction sponsored by NordVPN. If you want to gift the gift of internet security this Christmas, there's a link in the description to do so. I'm your host, Dan Rolinson, joined by a buoyant-looking Matt Kendrick. How's things, Matt?
I'm buzzing, mate. To be honest, I'm buzzing. What a great discount and deal that is with NordVPN. No, it is, but what a performance today. It was the archetypal classic Unai Emery performance where I thought we thoroughly deserved it. I thought that probably deserved to win by a bigger margin. But it felt like a lovely pre-Christmas stamp on proceedings that to say that we're still a bit good, aren't we? Do you know what I mean? We're glad tidings to you all. We're really, really good.
Especially Pep Guardiola. I mean, when have we ever been in a position to sing "You're Getting Sacked" in the morning to a Manchester City manager at Villa Park? Has that ever happened before?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
and then I thought, well, I hope they don't sack him because they want Unai Emery. Let's keep Pep Guardiola in his job as long as possible. To be honest, it was very amusing. I thought the atmosphere was great today. I thought City fans started off quite bright. Tried to mock us by chanting, "Is this the Etihad?" Which I thought that was quite good in terms of self-awareness.
Yeah.
I thought obviously we got the kind of pantomime villain back as well, hadn't we, in the form of Jack Grealish, so that cranked it up in places.
Talk about that in a bit.
No, I don't normally like 12:30 kickoffs, Dan, but I warm to them when we play like that.
Yeah, it gets the podcast out earlier as well, which is always a bonus rather than us sitting here at midnight talking about Villa losing at home or something. So to be here at 4
I'm on the
o'clock
last night. So thanks for the schedulers for at least allowing me to get on my Christmas drinky poos with my football friends. Football friends. So let's rattle through this and let me get a drink.
I'm more bothered about drinky poos, to be honest, but I'll let it fly for now. Talking of how you felt coming into the game, let's kind of compare it a little bit to last year, in the Man City game of last year. We'll talk about the result in isolation, but just going into the game, everything that's been said about Man City, not being in form or whatever, I was more leaning to, well, that won't last forever. And if there's ever a club who will help you out when you're in a pickle, it's Aston Villa Football Club. And at some point, this run will come to an end, and it will probably be at Villa Park on Saturday, and everyone will go, "Oh, Man City are back to their best. They've gone to a difficult place and won the game." But that obviously wasn't the case. Going into it, though, how did you feel? Were you confident, nervous? What kind of side of the spectrum were you?
I thought we'd get spanked. I thought Haaland had hit a hat-trick. I thought Grealish should score twice. I did genuinely... I did genuinely believe, but I think that's what you do as a football fan, isn't it? I always try and put that layer of protection around me by saying, well, okay, if I fear the worst, then I'm at least ready for it. Listen, it's still a really, really good Manchester City team, isn't it? I don't think that much has changed in terms of personnel for them. But today, I think Villa started the game, set the tempo straight away, could have scored twice within the first 2 minutes. And it was almost as if to say, listen, we don't fear you. Nobody fears you anymore the way that we used to. You come into our backyard and, take us on, because we're going to take you on, and we're going to do our best to beat you. And I think that unnerved Man City quite early on, the fact that we were on the front foot so quickly. And it was a bit tit for tat, I think, after that in the first 15 minutes. But I think as soon as we got that goal, almost muscle memory thought, well, how's Unai Emery keep banging on that we should play? We should take control of games. We should be the ones who do things on our terms. And I thought that's the way it played out as soon as we took the lead. I thought, you always think that, oh, crap, are they going to come and find some form, and is it going to come and bite us on the backside? But I thought it was a really, really dominant, really organised, really efficient, but really creative Aston Villa performance in the end.
Would you go as far as to say it was swashbuckling?
I thought Morgan Rogers was swashbuckling.
Nice.
I thought Yuri Tielemans was... Yeah, I'm not going to go through the whole team. Yes, I would. It was swashbuckling.
I think the way the game started and we had those chances in literally the first 20 seconds or something, Man City, I can't remember if a shot came to it, but they had a bit of a go at the other end as well in the first 5 minutes or so. And I kind of thought, it's going to be one of those games. I'm going to be sitting here with whiplash, left, right. It's going to be all over the place. But quickly calmed down after that, especially when we scored as well. And from then onwards, it was a complete controlled, dominant performance, which we're getting used to those, aren't we? Man City at home and Villa being dominant and in control is the go-to now, which is not something we've been used to. And that's what I want to see. I want to see us play that style of football against anybody. I want to go into games, whether they are actually not in form or whether they are, but with a feeling of, we're not scared of you. We don't fear you. We want to come and play our way, and we're going to close you down and make it difficult for you, not give you respect and give you a chance to work your way into the game. Let's get on them straight away. And you could see that with the press from McGinn and Duran and Rodgers from that first move of, this is what we're going to do to you today. And if you're not comfortable with that, you're going to lose. And that's the attitude that we should go into every game with, that confidence. And hopefully this is a bit of a start of something to say, well, if we can do it against them. Now, I want to kind of make the point that for all the jokes about sacking Pep and then being terribly out of form and will they even finish in the top four, whatever, like you said, this is still a good side. There's still world-class footballers in that 11 who've won every trophy available. These are no mugs. So I don't want it to be like, oh, well, we've just beat somebody that are terribly out of form. They were above us in the table before today. So it's still a very, very good result and an impressive victory. And we should absolutely take that and run with it.
Yeah, I was saying to you earlier about how that performance ranks today against, we beat Man City at Villa Park last year and they looked like they were kind of dominant defending champions and they were in a good place then. And I think that was probably a shock to the system of us as Villa fans and as the wider footballing world. But I don't know. Let's assume that the opposition is exactly the same, which it was Manchester City, albeit they're in different places with where they are confidence-wise and form-wise. I don't know whether it's recency bias. And beating Man City last year, even when we went to see Big Ron, he was saying that's the best performance he's ever seen from an Aston Villa side. So I'm not saying that we've necessarily trumped that again today, especially because Man City looked like a faded force compared to last year. But I thought we were really, really good today. I'd be interested to see in the comments whether people thought it was on a par with last year, whether last year's was just a kind of special occasion that we'll never quite match, whether it takes the edge off it today because Man City have been in such crap form. But I think it was up there. I really do, in terms of some of the football that we played at times, the way that we stopped them. Grealish first half had a little. Well, they tried to give him a lot of the ball, but I forgot Foden was still on the pitch by the time he's poked in that kind of fluky consolation goal. Haaland's barely got a touch in, and yet we're playing some really brilliant, flamboyant football ourselves. So I'm not saying it's quite on the level of last year, but I think it's pretty close. If last year was a 10, this one was a 9.5, I think. Yeah,
the easy way to judge that in the comments is if you think the Man City result of last year was better than this one, reply with 2023. If you think this one was better, reply 2024, and then I'll just read out some dates and then we'll work out which was the best one. They're definitely both very, very good, and I think that's probably the easy analysis, and we should just leave it there and be happy with what we've got. I think I'd just edge towards last year being better, though I think we probably played better spells of football in today's game. I think the result and what it meant last year was better for us. I think Man City last year obviously were very good and we stopped that. And I don't think they lost again for God knows how long until this run they're on now. Whereas this one, last year we limited them in the sense of we stopped them from doing anything. Today, if you look at the stats, it looks pretty even, which to me doesn't feel right. I think we were by far the better team in control all the way through. And stats can obviously read certain things, but I think Man City didn't really offer anything today because they're not very good, whereas they didn't offer anything last year because we stopped them. And we stopped them this year as well, but if you look at the stats, they've had as many shots as we have today on target. They've had more possession, corners pretty even as well, 5-4. So in another world, the stats paint a picture where Man City could have got something. From watching the game, that's not the case at all. 2-1 flatters them. It should have been, if I was doing the title for this post-match reaction, Villa 4-0, I don't think anyone would have gone, oh, it wasn't a 4-0 game. Villa just fluked a couple of goals, whatever. Villa could have scored 3 or 4 quite comfortably and should have kept that clean sheet because Man City didn't offer anything serious, really. But I think if I had to pick, I'd just go 2023. But I mean, you're asking me to pick between like a brownie and an ice cream or something. I'm happy with both.
That's fair, mate. I think that's fair. I probably would have both as well. I probably would have the brownie and the ice cream, to be honest.
Yeah. And we've had that, haven't we, as Villa fans? We've had both, so let's enjoy them. Let's enjoy both.
Well, listen, I've had the brownie and the ice cream as a connoisseur of eating desserts as well, mate. So I've had both of those as well. People are thinking, well, how do you maintain such a slim figure? But I'll release my Christmas DVD telling you all the secrets of that. Anyway, what are we talking about?
All the comments basically say 2023, by the way. So the general consensus is that last year's result or last year's performance was better, which I do agree with, but that doesn't undersell what today was.
Was he Randy Lerner's right-hand man? General consensus? He was one. Sorry.
Oh, that's good, that was.
I'm sure I've used that idea before, haven't I? I must have done.
I don't know.
What's
Have
the
I said
first
general
time I used
consensus?
it
Probably.
better than this time I've used it?
Yeah, reply 2019 for the first time that joke came out. Right, let's talk through the first goal. Just lovely, wasn't it? I think it's, 4 passes from Martinez, starts it off, gets it out to Tielemans. Tielemans on a half turn and threads a lovely ball through to Rodgers. Rodgers squares to Duran. Duran scores. It's what he does, Matt. It's normal. I'll admit I didn't celebrate very much because I thought Rodgers might be offside, and I didn't want to do that thing of going mental and then going, "Oh no, it's been ruled out. I look like a tit." Whereas I just did the opposite. I looked like a tit because I didn't really celebrate a goal that actually stood, and I should have celebrated it. I should have gone for it, but I was just worried. I just thought, after last week, and things surely aren't going to go our way here. A lovely goal, and that's what this Villa team is all about.
It is what this Aston Villa team is all about. You're right. I celebrated it for the both of us. In fact, I celebrated it for all 42,000 of us.
Good.
Not because I was any more confident than anybody else that it was in, just because something spontaneously from deep within my soul decided that it was a joyous moment that needed my acknowledgement with flailing arms and jumping up and down. I actually banged my shins on the. It wasn't quite limbs. I mean, I'm 2 rows from the front to the top tier of the Trinity, so I don't want to.
You got to be careful, yeah.
Back myself to bounce back if I fall over that. But yeah, I celebrate it. I thought Tielemans. I thought he was absolutely sublime throughout the game. I thought that moment summed up what a wonderful footballer we've got. I think he's so casual. He's like he's playing with his mates rather than playing on the Premier League stage. And the way he's worked that ball on, where was he? Probably halfway line, centre circle, something like that. And the way to the pass. And we're pretty rapid, aren't we? When you've got Morgan Rodgers and John Duran bearing down on you, it must be quite a frightening thing to see for the opposition. And the good thing about Morgan Rodgers, who again swashbuckling, made the right decision. He was very very definite, very clear-minded about what he wanted to do. Sometimes I think he can be caught between take on another player, when to pass, whether to get a shot away. But I thought he was very, very clear in his own mind. And yeah, Duran just tucked it away, which he probably owed us, to be honest, because I think he should have scored the first one in the first minute. I think
everyone around us was going, "Oh, Watkins would have scored that," because if that was Watkins who would have missed it, it's usually, "Oh, Duran would have scored that."
Yeah, well, I said to my son, Danny Ings would have scored that, just to
bit of difference.
But no, it was I just thought, I've not even come back and seen the highlights, but Villa's attacking play, the highlights reel of that today will be pretty spectacular, because I thought there was some really, really intricate, flamboyant football played at times. Brilliant. And I think as soon as we got that goal, I did feel like the ones that got away in the first couple of minutes, I thought, is that our chance gone? Are we going to rue those? But as soon as we got the goal, I thought it clicked in. The Emery way clicked in again from muscle memory, in terms of this is the way that we play. This is the way that we impose ourselves on games. This is the way that we're in control of our own destiny. And I thought it was excellent. And I thought the way we managed the game management, particularly second half, I think because we weren't streetwise at all in the final stages against Forest. I was really pleased to see how streetwise we were today, in the way we kept the ball when we needed to. We went long when we needed to. So yeah, I just thought it was a nice timely reminder that this is what Unai Emery's all about. And I think we can go into, listen, we've got Boxing Day, haven't we? It's a shame that we haven't got Christmas off now, in terms of, let's enjoy that, let's savour that, and then let's play again in the new year. But I think Boxing Day away at Newcastle is going to be a big test. But hopefully we can get something from there. And then we've got Brighton, have we, next week, I think?
Next Monday.
Yeah, I think we should hit 2025, with a little bit of a spring in our step, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so. There's a comment from Billy who says the TNT cameras caught a big fist pump from Townley for the opener, which I'm going to have to go and find that because that sounds great. Should he be celebrating in the press box? Should we? Who's to say whether he should be? Is that allowed?
Well, there's a kind of etiquette there, isn't there? Which I think it's probably frowned upon, but yeah, I think he absolutely should. So I'm not going to.
I think we encourage that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think we dock him his wages for that one. We'll just
there'll be other times.
As long as he'll put a fireplace, mate. We'll get him. But yeah, as long as he's not sparking kind of little riots in the press box, then we'll allow him a moment.
Yeah, it's nice to see John celebrating at a table rather than falling over his chair. It's that one, isn't it? Yeah, I'm sure everyone's seen the Christmas special trailer by now, but if not, we'll play it during this episode, and the full thing is out on tomorrow. Let's talk about the second goal. Do you want to talk through it?
I can't remember it. It's been that long ago.
2023 or 2024?
Wasn't it Morgan Rogers just going on a sponsored run from one end of Villa Park to the other?
And so
people just bouncing off them. It reminds me of that. I've probably said this before to describe his style, but have you seen when either, I suppose, like kids, well, I'm sure they do it in adult training as well, but when you've got, they put like a little bib or a little flag in the back of you, down your top or whatever, and you have to try and grab it, and they have to try and weed their way past. It's like a kind of British bulldog type thing, isn't it? Where you've got to get from somewhere to somewhere.
Yeah, we had a name for that at school. It's
like a cat and mouse thing, is it, or something like that?
The comments will tell us what that was called at various schools around the country, I'm sure, because it was probably one of those things that had a different name everywhere, but we know what you mean, yeah.
So it's a bit like that when you've got to bob from one side to the other side, and they all try and catch you and slow you down and all that kind of thing. But doing that with a football at your feet, when you're moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour against, albeit a faded Manchester City, but they are still the reigning champions, aren't they?
Yeah, just about.
If you forget, don't you? They are still the champions.
I didn't forget because I was there early and had a walk around the stadium. And did you see their coach? Did you go and have a walk around that way or not?
Oh no, has he got it on the side of it?
It's got all 4 Premier League trophies with the dates underneath, yeah, on the side of it, which I thought was quite. In some ways, you have to respect it, in other ways, I think, grow up.
Yeah, not having that. But yeah, so it was like that. It was like a swashbuckling run past all these people who are obviously out to get him. How did the ball get back? Because I know McGinn, then the ball, did he get kind of closed down on the edge of the box and gave it to McGinn, or was somebody else involved before then?
I think he just gave it over to McGinn and then got himself in a pocket of space, and McGinn got it back to him. And yeah, nice little, it was a great finish as well, to be fair. Like, as much as the goal is made via the run, the finish is really good as well. We're a little bit short on time, so I'm going to kind of fly through a little bit because I feel like we're going to talk about him in a second anyway. Let's do the man of the match. Sponsored by NordVPN, it's the Man of the Match award, and I will accept 2 choices if you cannot narrow it down to 1. What I won't accept is 11 choices, even though you probably could go through the whole team here.
Well, Morgan Rogers is going to be my choice. I think an assist, a goal, and just scared the living daylights out of his former Manchester City colleagues. You know, a lot was made and will be made of like Jack Grealish back at Villa Park and stuff. But I think it was the other old boy coming back to haunt them that did the most damage in terms of Morgan Rogers. He's brilliant, isn't he? You know, how much did we pay for him, Dan?
I think now he's played for England, it would have gone up a little bit. So I think it rises to 15 million. I don't think it will be the full 15 yet, but I'm not sure. Let's say 12.
All right. Well, that still represents an almighty bargain. I think Tielemans got the TV man of the match, didn't he? He was the one who was hanging around on the pitch at the end.
I'm not sure. When I was on the listening to TalkSport on the way back, they said Rogers had got it. I don't know. That's like the Premier League one or whatever.
Oh right. I saw Tielemans having his photo taken by Big Nev. With a trophy anyway. So Morgan Rogers and Tielemans will be my 2 if we're going to narrow it down to 2. I thought everybody who played across midfield today was brilliant. I thought McGinn was brilliant. I thought Kamara, you just know what you're going to get with him, don't you? He's just class. So, you know, for somebody who's probably considered more of a defensive-minded player, his intricate footwork, how quickly he can manoeuvre the ball, he's magnificent. McGinn was like what I've described before, like a Tasmanian devil in terms of the work that he put in and the way that he tried to lead by example. But I'm not going to go through all 11, but I can't fault anybody. Today, I thought Onana was good as well.
That balance of midfield looks like a good midfield setup. Onana, Kamara, Tielemans slightly further forward, McGinn hassling wherever he needs hassling, and Rodgers wide with Duran up front at the moment, or Watkins, depending on what opponent is, what player is replied, which player we need for whatever game it is. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. Rodgers would absolutely be my shout for man of the match as well. I thought that was probably his best performance of the season. I think the Arsenal game at home was probably right up there, but he didn't get anything for it in terms of a result for us or a goal or an assist or anything. So I think that's probably his best game for us this season. What I will want to give a shout out, firstly, Kamara. I mean, we could call it the Kamara Award, as soon as he gets at least a nomination for it every game anyway, unless he actually wins it. Just a word for Duran as well. That obviously he's got the goal, and that's what we like to see him starting games and contributing rather than just being an off the bench kind of magician. But I thought that was obviously I've not done this because I've not had time to do it. But if you went back and watched his first start for Villa, whenever that was last year, versus his game today, the changes in his overall kind of I don't know what's the word, like what he gave to the game. It's not just about contribution, yes. If you look at his entire contribution throughout the game, it wouldn't just be this chaotic run around headless chicken. He now understands how to play in Emery's system much better, which is obviously, it's going to happen. He's been with us longer now, but he understands what his role is rather than just being this kind of wild card striker that's going to rattle people a little bit and kind of maybe just take a shot from 30 yards. He understands his role much better. I think his kind of general play and the way he holds the ball up and brings his teammates in and all that kind of thing, I think that was probably the best of him that we've seen today as well.
Yeah, I think it's a trust thing, isn't it? I think Emery trusts him now, and he's earned that trust. What I do like is that, yes, he's been made more of a team player, but I don't think it's taken off too many of the edges, which is good because I think he needs those edges. I think he's still a handful. People know a lot more about him now than they would have done 18 months ago, but he's still difficult to stop. And I still think there is something unconventional about him, the way he plays. So, I mean, that's a masterstroke from Emery and Duran and Watkins as well, I suppose. Is the fact we've been able to kind of manage the expectations, for both strikers. The fact that he can still be something of a maverick, but be trusted to play in a team system, I think is really good. And obviously he's had the early chance, which hasn't quite gone in, but he scored a goal. He scored another goal that I've not seen that back. I presume it was offside. I presume there was clear daylight with how quickly it was overturned. He's had that one where he's closed the keeper down, hasn't he? And nearly, who knows where that could have gone. So his work rate's there.
Very good at that, by the way. I was going to bring this up. I'm glad you have. And again, this might feel a bit like a recency bias thing because it's happened again today. But you'll see a lot of players kind of do a kind of half-arsed attempt to go and close the goalkeeper down just to show probably their manager, look, I am going to do it. I am going to go and kind of progress the game on a little bit. And they don't really ever get near it. It feels like Duran probably has one chance a game where he does get near it, or he actually gets something on it, and it goes out for just a goal kick again, or for a throw in. That's like a really underrated thing to have in his locker. Like he's really quick off the mark out of nowhere and knows when to go.
Yeah, Ahmad didn't he, for United the other night and got a goal from it. I don't know if you saw that in the quarterfinal the other day against Spurs. But yeah, I know what you mean. You see some players who just do it in a really half-hearted.
To make the goalkeeper got to get on with the game, basically, rather than actually thinking, I can get this.
Yeah, so I was, like I said, that ball could have gone anywhere, but I think that symbolises what he's about in terms of his graft. He was. I thought, I don't know. Listen, I lost my train of thought. I like the fact that he's matured so quickly. And I was probably not as irate and as infuriated by his behaviour in the summer, but I don't know. I'm quite. It's been quite the conversion, isn't it? Because there'll be some players who wouldn't come back from that. So to do that, I know scoring goals most weeks probably helps, but to do that, and it's almost like, I don't know the people who haven't completely forgiven him for it, but it's almost like to do that, you've got to be something. Is it because he's like this crazy little puppy, who he's just, he's a bit excitable, but now he's trained, he's house trained, and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I think in terms of, if you're a PR man and if you're John Duran's PR man, you're thinking, oh my life, how do we come back from this? Yeah. And then I suppose putting one in against Bayern Munich is probably the best PR campaign that you can have, isn't it? But no, I think he's brilliant. I think it's going to be interesting. My dad was saying today, do you think there'll ever be a time where you'll get him in Watkins and Duran in the same system? And I don't think there is, but I don't know whether we necessarily need that to happen. You've just got to have Emery to manage his players on the bench a lot better than Martin O'Neill ever did back in the day, because that's the problem. You've got to get your squad enthused and invested all the time. And touchwood, he seems to do that. We see a couple of tantrums, don't we? The Wendy one a couple of times when he's come off the bench and it's not quite gone for him. But I think most of this squad and most of this team are genuinely rooting for their teammates to do well, because they know they're all in it together.
Yeah. Talking of tantrums, let's talk about Jack Grealish very briefly. Obviously came down the tunnel at half-time, not very happy, which, to be honest, I quite enjoyed. Just talk to me a little bit about the return, the impact. Obviously, this isn't the first time. The first half, all Man City wanted to do was get the ball in defence and ping it over to that left side and basically say what Dean Smith said to Jack Grealish in 2020, go on, mate, you have the ball and see what you can do. Sadly, Jack Grealish is not the player he was back then and couldn't really do anything of note, to the point that he had a shot that went out for a throw-in, which is in part sad to see, most part very, very funny. Talk to me about it.
It was so Aston Villa 2020. I half expect to see Matty Target on the overlap down that left-hand side. It was an interesting one.
To be fair.
Say again.
He might improve City, to be fair.
Yeah, he probably could. It was an interesting one. Listen, I've got to declare an interest, haven't I? Because I like Jack Grealish and his dad's my mate, so I don't want to dig him out. I actually texted him this morning, his dad. There was a clip that appeared on Instagram, I think, when he made his debut, Jack, away at Man City. I think we were 4-0 down or something. My mate Paul Lambert's kind of giving him a pat on the back as he goes on the pitch and stuff. And I texted him that, and he texted me back saying, "Let's have it," with like 5 footballs or something, which was just friendly football banter, I think. I think because he's not. Is that only his second time back when he's played?
That's a question I don't know the answer to. Potentially, no. I think he had the game when he came back, and it was Villa till I die when he came off the bench. Obviously, there was the game last year that wasn't that game, but I don't know whether Grealish played in it or not. Can't remember. Yeah,
I think that's the only. I think that's the second time he's played since he left. I might be wrong. People will correct me if I am. I was a little bit surprised, kind of how vocal the kind of booing and the stuff was, but I thought that was winding him up in a way that he's going to come and score the winning goal or whatever it was. But yeah,
so I felt the opposite, because I'm going into the game. There's a couple chat between me and the guy next to me, and I said, obviously Grealish back, he's starting. I said, would you boo him or would you clap him? And he was like, to be honest, neither. Like, I just don't really care. He's just an opposition player now. And I said, I'm exactly the same. Like, he's as any other player that comes to Villa Park. He's the enemy on the day, and I want to beat that player. I'm not going to boo or clap any opposition player unless something happens during the game that warrants that. So going into it, I wasn't bothered. But I thought the crowd being on him rattled him. I thought it was going the other way, and it was going to be a benefit to Villa for him. He was the outlet in the first half, so if he's going to be booed for every touch, there's a chance that's going to affect his game, and I think it did. The kind of the half-time incident where I think he wanted a free kick and it wasn't given, and Martinez has gone over to him, and Haaland's come over to Martinez, and there's a bit of something. Grealish is booed off. I was thinking, as a Villa fan in that situation, he's been their best player in the first half, and he looked rattled because the fans are on him. Let's keep that up, because that is the best chance of Villa winning the game. We've spoken on here before about like the kind of galvanising effect that has on the crowd when we feel like we've been wronged in some way by a referee or a goalkeeper wasting time or something. The Schmeichel incident from a few years ago, Ben Foster has had it before, and like, we're not in the game, but the crowd gets on something and brings us all together. And I felt there was going to be a bit of that with Grealish, that we're all in this now against you specifically, and that's going to help us win the game.
Yeah, I thought initially you could see it making him stand a bit taller at first, thinking, "Oh, okay, well, I'm going to impact this game." I think the frustration when that didn't start to happen, getting lots of the ball, we thought, well, actually, they're giving me the ball, they're trusting me with the ball, they want me to go and make things happen.
Probably the most touches he's had all year.
Yeah, I said that. I said I don't know whether he's seen football that many times in the last 3 years, but so I thought it made him stand tall at first, but then the frustration started to build. Someone was put in the comments there that the thing that they said Jack Grealish was our double agent today because he could have worked a bit harder second half to get Matty Cash sent off. I think Cash obviously got stuck into him a couple of times, didn't he? I think there's a bit of handbags, wasn't there? Martinez got booked, I think. I don't know why Martinez got booked for it and Haaland didn't, because I think Martinez gave Jack a shove and then Haaland gave Martinez a shove. And then you could still see Grealish as he disappeared down the tunnel, still kind of really, really annoyed and really, really frustrated. I actually think that second half, the combination of Kamara and Cash meant that he didn't really see that much of the ball. I thought that he was the outlet for them in the first half, but I don't think he got involved on the ball that much at all second half. I
think they dealt with him when he got it, and we just stopped them getting it to him so often as well, and he wasn't a threat at all in the second half.
Yeah, listen, it felt like a bit of a kind of changing of the guard moment, I think, didn't it? Seeing Morgan Rogers being this swashbuckling one, and Jack, albeit with bags of ability, not able to impact the game. So it became a little bit of a sideshow for me in the end. But I was surprised when Doku came on that Grealish stayed on. I was surprised that Grealish and Phil Foden lasted till the end of the game, to be honest, because I thought both of those might make way. And really surprised that De Bruyne didn't get on as well.
Don't care really.
No, nor me. I thought, well, Christ, I've always feared the worst. I thought somebody's going to affect this game, but fortunately, we got it pretty much in the bag.
Yeah, I wondered whether that was like one of those ones you hear from Pep, and it's like, well, they got us in this position, so get us out of it. They could have brought De Bruyne on, but didn't. So yeah, whatever. Don't care. We won the game. Happy days. Is there anything else you want to discuss from the game, or should we quickly talk about the Christmas special and then bugger off?
Well, I want to go out on the lash with me, mate. So I reckon we talk about the Christmas special, we play the trailer, and then I go and have a nice celebratory drink.
Okay, right. Let's play this trailer then, and we'll talk about it afterwards, okay? Bear with me.
On both teams, so
well, I wouldn't have that by now.
You don't know what it means.
Vlog plan, shooting date, location.
Parents' consent.
What's that nonsense out of the way?
We are the ho-ho home team.
Away in a manger.
I think virtually every player was involved, and that's what this Aston Villa team's all about.
Just got real.
Oh, I'm going to remember John Towney falling off that chair until my dying day. One of my all-time highlights of following Aston Villa and reporting on Aston Villa. Just brilliant.
What a day. Nice headwear, by the way, for those that are listening. Matt, he's now wearing the turkey hat from the Christmas special. What I will say is that those that are listening, that trailer probably meant very little to you because it was just music. So what I will do is I will cut that out actually in the audio version because it's absolutely useless. What I will say, we're talking about the Christmas special, and that is a very visual thing. So for those that listen to the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, the Christmas special won't be on those platforms because you need to watch it. It's a very visual thing that Matt put together, as those on YouTube will have seen. That is out Sunday evening at 7 o'clock. So tomorrow, it's our Christmas special. There'll be nothing else from us until the post-match reaction for Newcastle. And without giving any spoilers away, Matt, it was very good, wasn't it? Without going and blowing our own trumpet.
It was good. I've just seen this hat. My eyes look really, really blue against this headwear. I'm just thinking, I quite like this. Yeah, it was brilliant. It was a really good laugh. We try and do the Christmas quiz every week, don't we? But every year. But I think we've cranked it up to a new level now, and it is a shame for our audio listeners because they're not gonna have the same feast for their eyes. But just some of the nonsense like James Rushton trying to kick a football and like Ty Bracey just squealing his head off at the end of that. I think Christ, like nails down a blackboard. But yeah, it was really good fun. So I think you said something that Matt put together. I hope people don't think that I've done the editing. I just put the quiz, the format together.
You put the show together, yeah.
But you guys and some of our colleagues at work have sprinkled a little bit of magic on it in terms of the way it looks and sounds, I think. So I think people will enjoy it. I think it's probably worth you having the pause button, having your finger poised over the pause button for some of the ones that you can get involved in. I mean, you can get involved in all of it. You can try and do keepy-ups with a sprout if you want yourselves. Spoiler alert. But yeah, I think it's just a bit of fun, a bit of nonsense, isn't it, for to celebrate another great year?
Yeah, I think if you're a fan of the podcast and kind of some of the silliness that we get up to, you will really enjoy it. And if you think some of the silliness is a little bit too far sometimes, there is an actual quiz in there as well with some really, really good questions and really kind of thought-provoking things that there was nothing in there that I think you'll find too easy or too difficult. Like everything is gettable if you've got a bit of knowledge about Villa. So hopefully you come back tomorrow and watch that. We've put a lot of work into it and we really hope that you enjoy it. Matt, thank you for putting that together, and thanks to all the lads for coming along and getting involved in the filming as well. And a big thank you to Hockley Social Club for giving us their venue for the day to do what we want with, basically. So big shout out to Andy and the team over there. That's it for this one, Matt. This is our last podcast, our proper podcast before Christmas. So we wish everyone watching a Merry Christmas if you're celebrating, and a Happy New Year. We'll be back next, besides the special tomorrow, for the post-match show for Newcastle. We'll be live on Boxing Day evening for that one. Is that going to be you and me, do you think?
Oh, I don't know, mate. I'll have to check with Mrs. Kendrick to see what I've promised I'll be doing. Okay. I'll try and get along. I'll message you.
Okay, all right. I'll be here anyway, and I'll be getting somebody to join me, whoever that is. So enjoy the Christmas special, enjoy Christmas Day, and we'll see you again properly live for another episode on Boxing Day. Thanks for watching this one or listening, and we'll see you then. Bye, everyone.